The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast.
You know, it's pretty bad whenever I know that it's a week off and I say that I've missed a league from 1 week away, but there's something that elbows out on a Wednesday night that just does something, and I have to miss them because it's so much fun to be here. It's just such a different run. There's such a good atmosphere here. There's so much fun to hang out with, and I'll tell you what, there's been some big changes in the background during the off season. There's been a lot of new faces in 1 week to make their names known, make themselves appear. And in the end, it's going to be another 60 minutes of great action through the season following the next 12 weeks. And we can't wait to bring it to you here on PTR TV. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, here to Elbows Out Racing, to the Multi-Class 60 Championship Series. It is round number 1. It is the beaches of Daytona. It is something that you should know and you should love. And if you don't know it and you don't love it, I'm calling you a liar right now. And you'll notice a couple things that are different here as it goes. First thing, the new logo in the top left. We're switching things up. The league has, over the 2 week, I can't call it an off season, I don't feel like, but there's been a little bit of a refresh there, little new logo up in the top to do something different. But look at the bottom left. I do want to give a big shout out to the league sponsor, which is going to be IDI. Now here's the thing. Founded in 1952, IDI is a premier contract service company that specializes in acoustical ceiling, drywall, carpentry, paint, wall coverings, and window treatment construction projects. Go over to www.foridi.com to learn more. IDI, build something worth owning. And I'll tell you what, when I found out that IDI was here in International Decorators Inc., jumped in with Elbows Out, I was beyond excited. But qualifying's over. Patrick, it's you and me in the booth for a stacked field here. We're going to let the grid scroll. And what did you do with your week off? Let's start there. Now, let's talk about something. There's a lot of names we know. There's a lot of names we don't. And I like that. But I want to point out a car change. Now, if you watched all of 2025 Season 2, you'll remember that it was GTPs that were the lead class. Now, if you notice, that's not a GTP up in the front. LMP2 was voted in by the league to be the car of choice. How do we feel about that? You first.
really said or talked about a lot last season, but I think it's going to be fun.
1 week off, and you would think that I would remember how to click an unmute button for Patrick. But yeah, basically, I'm going to summarize everything Patrick said. LMP2 cars are amazing. It's going to be a great season, and we're glad everyone's here. So, and Daytona is beautiful, and Elbows Out is the best league ever. That is everything you said in a nutshell. Yes, no, maybe no?
Basically, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
basically, it's just LMP2s are going to spice things up, and it's just going to take a bit longer for traffic to play a factor, but I still think we're going to have some solid racing here.
Short pace lap, as always, here, and it is going to be Jamil Gummer who is leading things out here with this run. So that is going to be where we get things going here and get ready for 60 minutes. There's also the team dynamic that we haven't talked about. We'll talk about that as the race goes on and as things set up, because the team dynamic is going to change things up a lot. I think it's going to make a real big change for who is where, who does what. But we have the LMP2s that are approaching the front here as they go, and they are getting ready to party and bring this along. They will get ready for 60 minutes of action here. They're going to pull off here on to the pace car peels off, and we're underway for 60 minutes of action here in the Multi-Class 60 Championship here with Elbows Out, and it's a very, very quick getaway. Eric Mack drops the third, hard on the brakes to the inside, dropping down in the inside, going for the battle for second place, but up front, we're away, we're done, we're dusted, no harm, no foul there.
Yeah, it's a very good launch there from our current lead driver at the moment, but these LMP2s, they're definitely getting their elbows out. So, I mean, things are really staying close together for the opening lap. But it is always nice to go through the first corner, especially a corner as tricky as the International Horseshoe to kind of get through without really having any major contact. And these drivers are still getting their elbows out. Pun entirely intended, but, I mean, that's how you know the racing is going to be fantastic. It's early stages in the race, and they're already fighting tooth and nail for positions.
And as LMP2s continue to go out, we do have to mention the tire model update that happened during the off season as well. Week 13 tire model was updated. The tires are a bit more sensitive here, and you'll hear the drivers, you know, they kind of talked about that a bit, especially back in that GT3 category. They really, really are feeling the changes of the tires. You can see the weaving down the straight there from second place as we get going and as we continue through, and, you know, this 60 minutes of action, it's going to go fairly quickly, but you still have to survive the tires. And also, don't forget, they got to do this twice, really, because tire changes are mandatory here in Elbows Out at the pit stop.
Yeah, I remember when the GTPs first had their massive tire model change a few months ago around the iRacing 12 Hours of Sebring, and it took the drivers quite a bit of time because those tires were basically ice cold when they first were equipped to the car, as we seeing Jamil Gummer trying to fight away from Antonio Costa and Cody Perodato there. Jamil Gummer going ahead, leading the pack in that LMP2 car, and the racing here has been really fantastic in the early stages as we check on board with Peter Nodwell and Chase Wilson, P1 and P2 in the GT3 Pro category. And yeah, I mean, I always love seeing new faces come to this league because they're always such a dark horse. And I'm not saying that as a pun because Chase Wilson is driving a Mustang, but you just don't know what to expect from them. And a lot of times they can be a very pleasant surprise.
That they can. I do want to take a second here. I want to jump back, and I want to show the GT3 restart. We missed it there, but I want to go back and make sure that we give them the love that they deserve here as they went, because they had a interesting race start here as it got going. So let's go back and check them out here as they came through the first couple of corners. You could see everyone really holding on here, and that is, I mean, that's a crowd of cars trying to cut through. If you're wondering, we have 27 GT3 AMs, and I am showing currently in the session 9 GT3 Pros. So tons of GT3s trying to snake their way through this field, and make their way through, but they had a very clean race start. Now, something else that we did miss here in the back end, though, this is Bob Carey. Bob Carey, a little bit of a swing there on the back end through the International Horseshoe. And then up here we had Randy Kenny, who also had a swing there through turn 6 onto the speedway. Parker Chiapuzzo had a moment, and that's a hard hit. That's several GT3s taken out. That's Parker Chiapuzzo. That's Shea Perkins, who also took a bit of a lick there from that. Ryan Geckler, Kyle O'Grady had a moment there as well.
Wow.
So we've had several drivers catch moments as they've gone, and that is just one of those, moments that you have here when you have so many cars on the track. Again, over 50 cars in the running here today.
Which 50 cars in the running is an insane number, but that's just going to make the racing all the more exciting. And these LMP2 cars, once they do catch up to the traffic, it's going to be interesting to see them navigate through the around 30 GT3 cars, taking into account both the Pro and the AM categories here. So it's going to be a really interesting race, especially as we get closer and closer to the latter stages. Luckily, the nice thing about Daytona is very easy to get an overtake done here when you're trying to lap traffic or just trying to pass a car in your class, because you have quite a few parts of the oval that you can go ahead and overtake on. You have the backstretch out of the Le Mans chicane, so basically turns 10, 11, and 12. And then you have more parts of the oval around turns 7 and 8, just shortly after turn 6. Which now they're actually just getting through the Le Mans chicane and going on to turns number 11 and 12. So really easy to get some good slipstreams here, but also it's a wide track through most parts of it. So overtakes are pretty easy, and so it's becoming a lawnmower, as we're seeing here from Antonio Costa.
Antonio Costa trying to get back out on the track here as quickly as possible, doing what he can to get through but not impede traffic. And unfortunately, Antonio Costa was battling for the lead, now drops P11 in class, and that's how quick things can change here. Jumping back here to the battle for GT3 overall lead, you have Tyler Stanek, who is trying to chase down Peter Nodwell, separated by about half a second. Here they go up in the front, and you can see the line that they're taking through, and Chase Wilson there in third. Make sure you watch out for that Mustang as he goes. Daniel Pinero is here in the mix in the McLaren, as well as Rich Calais is sitting in second place. Now, we got a treat here that I really enjoy as we watch these battles continue through and these GT3s really test the power of my PC to keep this broadcast in a great condition as they go. But we've got a nice little treat here that we have one of the drivers who's not racing joining us here. Christopher Ondera is up in the booth with us here to jump through. Christopher, good evening. How are you?
I am well, gentlemen. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I will not speak for Patrick, but I have a feeling that Patrick is doing pretty well if I know anything about Patrick and his love for Wednesday nights.
Is there any better way to start off a season than starting at Daytona? It's everybody's favorite track, and mine too.
I mean...
Yeah, I mean, it's my home track, so yeah, I love Daytona. It's, like I said earlier, lots of good overtaking opportunities, and it is beautiful for multi-class racing, especially at a fantastic league like Elbows Out Racing.
Thank you.
So, tell us a little bit about some of the things that were changed in the off-season, if you can. Obviously, the biggest one being the decision to go GTP to LMP2. How do you feel about it? Kind of talk us through that a little bit and tell me what you think that's going to do for the league through the season.
I personally wanted to see the GTP stay, as they have more variance in the manufacturers, but everybody does such a great job with their liveries that the LMP2s are all going to stick out, because everybody has somebody on their team who's willing to make them a livery, and that will take care of the variance, I believe. So yeah, LMP2 is very exciting. They are keeping some of the competition with the GT3 pros and AMs. They were planning on promoting people based on winning championships, and instead they went with a speed chart, which is very detailed. And Paul Nye, as we all know, the leader of the group, he does a great job of deciding who is pro and who is AM at the GT3 level. So those are the big changes that I'm excited to see for this season.
So obviously you're not racing week 1 here, but I got to ask, does that give you, I don't feel like, missing week 1, even if it is Daytona, really puts you on the back foot here. There are so many drivers in this league. I mean, and really with my experience with Elbows Out, it feels like it's just a matter of sort of attrition and just survival that has to come into play. Does missing week 1 kind of put you on a back foot for the season, do you think?
I would say it only puts me on the back foot because who doesn't want to race Daytona? Everybody does. But I had prior engagements that kept me from racing today. And we have 2 drop weeks. So everybody's 12-week score, you take your 2 lowest scores. This will count as one of mine, which is 0 points. But yeah, does it put me on the back burner? Of course, because who knows? Maybe I could have gotten 50 points today.
Fair. And I guess my final question for you here is going to be, do you have a prediction for a winner today?
Today, wow, Peter Nordwell was impressing me quite a bit. I know that he's part of Chris Stewart's gang, so I've seen him comment before. So from the GT3 pros, I'm going to take Nordwell. I would really like to see Cody be strong today because he is by far our all-time leader in most championships. So I'd like to see him get off to a nice start. And let's see, at the AM level, I know Parker already had an unfortunate incident. Yeah, let's go with my teammate Ethan Murphy. Hopefully he will get it done today.
I think that's a good choice. And anyone you want to shout out or thank since you're hanging out with us here for a minute before we let you? Eric Wineland spins there off in the West Horseshoe, but Eric Wineland can get it back going there, gets back on the grass, gets back on the pavement. Yeah, Eric Wineland gets it going, but yeah, anyone you want to shout out there before we let you go?
Oh, Elbows Out, I will speak for everybody. We're extremely excited to have International Decorators sponsor us this season. To have a company feel that our little league is something we're sponsoring, we're all very, very excited about that. So to Brian and the whole crew over at International Decorators, thank you for seeing our league as something worth investing in. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Chris Frondera hanging out with us here in the booth for a little bit and, just kind of giving some insight into the league, into sort of some of the decisions that came through there and what happened on the backside here. Riding on board with Tyler C., who is 4th place in GT3 AM, and behind Tyler C. is a field of GT3 cars. Zachary Nerney, Martin Merkfa, who I noticed is in a particularly interesting paint scheme there. A good old Red Bull McLaren paint scheme. There's a saying, Patrick, that when you see a driver on a Red Bull paint scheme, you should be very, very scared.
Yeah, especially in GT3 because Team Redline is a team, obviously, that has a lot of Red Bull backing. I believe it was founded by Max Verstappen himself. So, I mean, that's always one thing to note. But, I mean, just because they have a Red Bull livery on their car doesn't mean that they're going to suddenly get an extra 100 horsepower and just start blowing everybody out of the water like he's driving the RB19 from 2023. With that being said, Martin Merkva is a good driver, so maybe the Red Bull scheme is going to give him wings, and maybe he'll get a podium or even a race win.
Oh, come on. You don't think he's an automatic menace to society just because he has the Red Bull paint scheme? Come on now. You're not buying into it.
if this was a random public lobby, then I would immediately assume that he was going to be a menace to society. But this is Elbows Out Racing. We have some of the best drivers in the iRacing scene in general. So, I mean, I don't foresee any of these drivers being a real menace to society. I mean, even if they are, it's going to be... the only downside is I'm not going to have popcorn ready in time to watch the chaos unfold. But we are still watching a very good race, as we have a very good battle here for the race lead between Jamil Gummer and Cody Perodato. The two LMP2 cars battling it out, and that's one of the things that I knew was going to happen as soon as we started bringing these LMP2 cars in, is that we're going to have some fierce battles. And we have KH Donahue going ahead and fighting. He's got 2 GTPs behind him, so that's going to be a very fun one. You have to defend against 2 very hungry competitors directly behind. Eric Mack right behind. In that Golf Aston Martin liveried LMP2 car created by Dallara. And honestly, I mean, these drivers seem to be liking these cars quite a lot. So if you have a happy driver, then they are going to perform fantastically.
Yeah, it's so much fun to watch and see how the drivers handle these LMP2 cars as they go through and just battle along. I mean, keep things together, do what you can here, and just go through. We're starting to see lap traffic come into play as it stands. So as they keep things going here, we're only 15 minutes into this race. Don't forget that. This is only 15 minutes in to the battle that we currently see as they keep themselves very close and competitive here. This gap is basically a rate of nothing as they come through. Jamil Gummer currently trying to get around the 002 here as we try to relearn everyone. That is Aiden Toohey, who is currently down in 17th in the AM class and is just trying to keep things together and along, but doing a great job nonetheless as they battle it out here. Plenty of great action on track as they, you know, just, again, it's just a matter of continuing to just make it to the end. And that is the one thing that is sometimes easier said than done, is making it to the end here, as we see Chase Wilson has left the session here. Rich Calais currently trying to battle it out with Daniel Pinero. This is side by side running for the overall lead in GT3 AM. Side by side down the front stretch they go. And here they go through the tri-oval down into turn 1. Side by side, let's see, high side there is Rich Calais. Inside, Daniel Pinero. Daniel Pinero, a name you should remember from last season if you followed us through. And Pinero, I think that's a very wise decision there not to go for that pass.
Yeah, because I think that would have ended in Pinero taking both cars out. And like you said earlier, I mean, this is not just this race, but this entire season is a season of attrition. So, I mean, consistency wins championships. We saw the last season drivers who performed consistently well did good in the championship. And I know earlier on Christopher Ondera mentioned that we do have some drop rounds here, but you want to maximize your points at every single race. So getting taken out is also not really a good confidence booster as well if you just take yourself out in the first race of the season. You want to start the second race of the season on the right foot, and you want to build off the momentum from this race here. And I mean, I think some of these new drivers that we have this season are doing pretty well at it. Obviously, returning faces also putting on a mighty fine show. The battle between Zachary Nerney and Martin Merkva here. Mercedes versus Red Bull McLaren. Very good battle indeed. Another thing too that a lot of these drivers do have is that they have a season at minimum racing with each other. So they may be more familiar about how these drivers kind of race, and so it results in less incidents, which is very good for a first race of the season.
Yeah, it's such a great run to watch here. Side by side, Peter Nodwell with Zachary Nerney. Let's see how this battle goes through as Peter Nodwell is there to the outside. Zachary Nerney to the inside in that Mercedes AMG, and great room given there through by Nodwell in through turns 1 and 2, and side by side goes Merkva with Colin Bourdon. Colin Bourdon just dropping down the order there from Bourdon Racing, and that is going to open things up there. Martin Merkva now has a cushion of an AM between the two pros that were battling for third place. Meanwhile, up front, Daniel Pinero here still trying to chase down that overall lead in GT3 AM. Checking back in up front here, by the way, in LMP2 category racing as they stand. Cale Hagen is currently 0.3 of a second off of KH Donahue as they battle through and around here. And Eric Mack is just a couple seconds off of that as they continue along. And, well, if you're wondering where the top two are, well, Jamil Gummer currently showing 1.8 seconds behind Cody Perodato, but the gap back to Donahue, 5 seconds. That's a considerable gap to be found there as these battles continue along. And man, I can't look away from the GT3s for a second. These battles are amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Peter Nodwell once again fighting the Mercedes up ahead for position. And I wonder if this will go better this time because there's also another Mercedes directly behind him. So Peter Nodwell, he's got his work cut out for him. As Mike Serman directly behind, and actually we have a Mercedes coming into the pits. So that's an interesting call. I wonder if there's damage or maybe just an early pit stop attempt. This is Colin Bourdon from Bourdon Racing. And now, something we kind of touched upon very early on, but we never really dove into detail is, you mentioned something at the beginning of the broadcast about teams now playing a part.
Yeah, so teams are now also in the mix as well. You know, last season and seasons before, your team was your manufacturer. But now you actually pick a teammate, and it can be same class, it can be different class, and you'll see a lot of drivers with similar paint schemes as they go through. And Christopher, if you are still here, you can probably elaborate a little bit more about that team sort of setup and who's who and, you know, who to look for and, you know, kind of how that decision came through.
So yeah, we decided to bring teams into the fold, and it's mostly for fun. You are actually required to be in the same class, so a GT3 AM is not allowed to join with an LMP2 or a pro driver. You must be in the same class, and you must be in the same manufacturer. You are not required to have the same livery, but it's encouraged, and most of the drivers are using an alternate paint scheme, one white, one black. So yeah, that's what we've decided to do.
So a couple of different teams to give you an idea of this. So you've got Cody Perodato, and you can see there the Devil Beaters Motorsports setup, and Cody's teammate is Antonio Costa. And you'll notice it's basically just like you flip the paint color around there as they go through. A couple other ones, Nerney back here in the back, Zachary Nerney running that Coca-Cola Zero Sugar paint scheme in that Mercedes AMG. And, well, who is Cody's teammate? Well, it's Paul Nye, the donut guy. And what do you know? The car looks very similar but slightly different, just enough that you can tell the difference. So if you wonder, that is the best way to tell who's a teammate to whom. And as the season goes, we'll point out more of those teammates, but that will come into play as well because, you know, if it's a battle with teammates for the win, they're going to battle a little bit differently than, say, maybe right now Perodato and Jamil Gummer would battle.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, there's a couple of really, really strong teams. The two teams you just pointed out, if you've been watching Elbows Out for any period of time, you'll know that those four drivers that you just mentioned, Cody, Costa, Nerney, and Paul Nye, yeah, those are some of our strongest drivers. So everybody else has their work cut out for them, without a doubt.
It's going to be interesting to watch here. But ladies and gentlemen, we are going to step aside for just a second here. We've got a fun video, kind of the hype video for the league that we got from last season that we're going to let play. It shows the GTPs that, again, don't race anymore, but hey, I love the video so much I left it in our commercial reels. So we're going to step aside for about 30 or 60 seconds, take a quick breather. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here to Daytona International Speedway as you join us here with Elbows Out Racing, the Multi-Class 60 Championship. And currently in the lead is Cody Perodato. I think this is a good time here as we get going to kind of do a little bit of a through the field, kind of see who's gained what, who's lost what as they currently run. So, because there's been several drivers that have gained and lost positions as appropriate. Let's start with the LMP2 category here. Patrick, Cody Perodato up 2 places in the lead. Our pole sitter, Jamil Gummer, down 1 place. But you can see LMP2 is pretty up and down in a sort of stable way.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like we kind of expected that coming into it because it's a new car, and there's a good chance that, I mean, especially with the returning drivers from seasons past, that they're so used to the prototypes that, I mean, they drove prototypes for about the last 10 or 12 or so weeks, that some of them are just not used to this new LMP car, and it's going to take time for these drivers to kind of get used to this new car, this new chassis, this new overall. It's, well, granted, yes, they're both prototypes and they're both sort of similar when it comes to driving, but I mean, there's still a lot of differences between the GTP cars of last season and the LMP2s of this season. So I think as long as the season, or while the season goes on, these drivers are going to get better and better with these cars.
That they are. It's a learning curve. And again, you know, some leagues will go weeks or even a couple of months between seasons, right? Like they will give a pretty considerable time chunk here. You got to remember with Elbows Out, the only time that we took off was week 13. So you got 2 weeks between the last race and this race. And that is all the time that you were given to really lock it in. And it comes down to, you know, really this, just the adaptability. How comfortable are you with the car? As we see our race leader here flashing the lights at the GT3 ahead saying, hey, I'm coming up, watch out, you're going to be in my way, and get out of my way. Very good move there as the 48 will peel to the low side and keep this one moving and grooving.
Yeah, indeed. Like we've said a ton last season, traffic taketh and traffic giveth away. And I mean, traffic navigation, just like in the real world, when you're just going to work, trying to travel I-4, I-95, whatever highway you may take to your job, traffic navigation is a skill in it of itself, especially with multi-class racing, and especially when you have over 30 GT3 cars on track if you're these LMP2 drivers. So, yeah, you got your work cut out for you. Luckily, we haven't seen any incidents yet, but I mean, once again, these drivers here at Elbows Out are fantastic, so I don't really foresee any issues, but commentators' curses exist for a reason.
Oh, yeah, they do. That is infamous in and all of itself here, as we have currently pit stops have been cycling through out and about. Tons of drivers have made pit stops, tons of drivers haven't. I've lost track of it, and my software has completely lost track of it too, because my software has decided that sometimes it just doesn't want to work. And that is the fun of when you have such a large field here on a track such as Daytona. Every once in a while, you know, those week 13, week 1 gremlins are going to kind of kick around, and that's what's happening now. So as we go through, I've kind of lost track of who's pitting, who hasn't, but just know a lot of cars have been in and out of that pit lane here, and a lot of GT3s are starting to kind of make that halfway time, that line of where they're pitting. So several of them are in. We look at the GT3 Pros and where they currently sit. You only have one car out here, and that is Chase Wilson. But everyone else up and down. Paul Nye, the donut guy, though. I got to wonder. Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Should probably be drinking a Diet Coke like I am and not a Zero Sugar. But it seems like Paul Nye, of course, switched this season to the AMG. And, well, maybe the AMG just not being the best of friends here for Paul Nye.
I think it's going to be more of a case of what we talked about earlier with the LMP2s, is that even though it's the same class of car for Paul Nye, the donut guy, it would be kind of wrong for us to just immediately assume that, oh, he's just going to be able to jump right in and get straight to work and immediately become, you know, one of the best GT drivers on the grid. It's going to take him time to kind of get adjusted to this car. And once again, we do have drop rounds for here at Elbows Out. So, I mean, if this is his worst results, he'll get it dropped. But I think it'll just take time for these drivers to kind of adjust to a new car. Because like you said, well, there's a lot of leagues that'll take, several weeks off, even several months in some occasions. You only got about 2 weeks roughly in between seasons, so not exactly the most time to kind of adjust to a new car, especially, with work, with school, college, insert other obligation here. It's not like these drivers can dedicate 24 hours straight to a car. I mean, if you can, first of all, kudos, because that's a lot of dedication, but I think Paul and I will improve over time as he gets more comfortable with that Mercedes.
I want to point out one driver here, Dwight Hibbs. You're going to notice a number down there, the number 23, and you see it up on the screen there. He's gained 23 positions in this race today. 23 places, and that's not 23 places overall. That is 23 places in class. Currently running fourth in class. That is next level ridiculous for Dwight Hibbs.
Dwight Hibbs was very good in the GTPs last season around, so I mean, some drivers do get acclimated at different rates to cars, and Dwight Hibbs feels right at home in this Mercedes, clearly. I mean, it's crazy to think that he's made up more positions in this race alone. He has passed 23 cars in class, and I don't think we actually had 23 cars in class overall last season for GT3 AMP, so that in itself is impressive.
We didn't, and it's so amazing to see so many drivers here joining Elbows Out this season and just see all of the love that this league is getting shown as we have a battle right here between Costa and Aiden Garcia going through the 799 of Garcia, trying to defend against the number 13 of Antonio Costa as they run onto the speedway here, and they will use that Mustang, that number 44 Mustang of Jordan Scarrett for a little bit of a draft there. As they go, keep your eye on them as they run down here. Hopping on board with Antonio Costa. Hard on the brakes, down, left, to hit the right, mind the bump there, watch the run, and man, they take so much liberty with the exit there at the bus stop.
Yeah, indeed, and it looked like Antonio Costa went through the grass a bit there, so like we've said before, touching grass is a very good thing to do, just not with a slick tire. But Antonio Costa, he nailed it. He's having fun out there. He is racing his heart out right now. P6 in class, chasing out Aiden Garcia. And this is going to be a fun battle to watch. Antonio Costa had a fantastic end of the season last time around. So I think now he's just going to try to build up on the momentum of last season.
And that's really all you can do at this point. Take the momentum from last season. Don't let it die and keep it moving. I'm keeping my eye also on that gap up front for the race lead. 1.8 seconds currently showing as the gap, and that's not that big of a gap, I would argue, for the race leader as they continue along here. But Costa, Garcia, I mean, this is some hardcore, all pun intended, elbows out racing that is currently going on between them.
I'd like to point out too. I'd like to point out at this point in the race, a lot of the drivers are thinking about if they can earn the bonus point by leading one lap. If you can lead just one lap, you get an extra bonus point, and that can make all the difference at the end of the season for the championship.
You ever won a championship or lost a championship by 1 point? It is the most gut-wrenching thing. If you win the championship by 1 point, it is the best feeling in the universe, I have to say.
I've never won it by 1 point, but last season I did win it by 17 points, so we'll just leave it there.
Okay. There's a flex in the booth. Got it. Okay. Antonio Costa peels out of this battle into the pits. That's going to release Aiden Garcia to just say sayonara, so long, farewell, adieu, adios, arrivederci. I mean, insert your favorite way to say goodbye here. Antonio Costa into the pits here to get this car sorted out.
Yeah, so once again, we know there is a recommended 4-tire pit stop here at Elbows Out Racing. So, I mean, strategy is another big part of every kind of battle, especially when it comes to multi-class racing. Even in a single-class racing, so even if it was just LMP2s or just GT3s, you gotta think about, the strategy and when you're coming out. Because if you release the car into a bunch of traffic from either lapped cars or just cars who haven't pitted yet that would be behind you otherwise, you could lose a lot of time to that, where you just lose any kind of benefit you would have gained from that undercut. Especially when it comes to multi-class racing, when you have a class that is significantly slower than your car, like with the GT3s and the LMP2s, or the GT3s with the GTPs from last season. You can lose so much time just trying to get through that traffic that an overcut will end up beating you out in the long run. So it's always a gamble with a pit stop, but that's what makes it all the more exciting.
That it does here as we ride on board with Antonio Costa on this outlap and see doing fairly well, I'd say, at the moment to just keep the car going. Gets on the speedway section, gets on the banking, and with this gyro cam, you could really tell just how that banking feels. But I mean, you're in the seat, you're going fast, and well, in the sim, unless you have a motion rig, you don't really know that that's there, and you're just sort of planted here. Now we run down right before the 100 board is when they're breaking an LMP2, or at least that's when Antonio broke right there. There was a good conversation that I caught whenever the drivers were practicing before the race. I like to sometimes jump in while I'm doing a couple of things behind the scenes to get set up and just listen to the drivers talk and kind of discuss what's going on. And one of them said, "Where are you breaking an LMP2 for the bus stop?" And a couple of them said, "Right before the 100." And the driver that asked, who shall not be named, not because I don't remember the name, but just out of respect here, is Costa with that great outside line into turn 1 that made me think he was missing it. The driver goes, "You're braking at the 100 board? I'm cooked tonight." But that driver is doing fairly well tonight, so I would argue that driver definitely was lying in saying that they were going to have a bad night. They did, or are doing, just fine.
You guys are actually braking? That's crazy. And then we just cut to someone just going straight across. But all serious now, I mean, it really just depends on your driving style. I would probably typically brake at the 100 meter board, but yeah, there's a reason why I'm in the commentary booth and not here on track at the moment. But yeah, these guys are very talented. I'm sure they've put in quite a few laps in practice, even if only just today. I'm sure some of them or probably everybody has practiced quite a bit beforehand. So that's the best part about practice, is that you can test the limits of the car. And one of the beauties of sim racing is if you bin it while you're doing a practice session here, I mean, your ego's going to get a little bruised, but other than that, you're pretty much going to be fine. You don't have to pay for all the damages. If you follow Formula One, I'm sure you've heard of the Destructors Championship, how that's a thing, how much money worth of repairs that a driver has cost their team. That accident from kind of bruised my cost a little bit on the Destructors Championship, as he goes on the NASCAR line, which, as funny as it would be to see these cars just do nothing but oval, that's not what we're doing here for the first round of the Multi-Class 60 Championship Series.
That would be such a Week 13 fun thing, and who knows, maybe we can get Elbows Out to set that up for like a 60-minute oval race. I'd somehow be okay with that. Admin, if you're listening, hopefully you're not listening and driving, but admin, if you are listening, I'm just saying, it's a thought. It'd be a fun one, and I do recommend it. So as we go here, Matt Toppin currently running things down and continuing along, having a great time for him. Matt Toppin in a Lamborghini, which is a car that I'm going to tell you right now doesn't get near enough love for what it is.
Yeah, I think it's tractor of a cousin in GTP kind of maybe tampered the reputation of the Lamborghini, but as we're hearing the utterly righteous V10 sound of the number 50 Lamborghini driven by Matt Toppin, I mean, that is just such a beautiful sounding engine, and it's a fun car to drive. So I'm surprised it doesn't get much more love, but I mean, hey, Matt Toppin's doing pretty good, 4th in class in the Lamborghini.
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling this Lambo is going to be one to watch. The Lambo, I think, usually does really good at Daytona, so just kind of letting it go along here and run through. But as we ride on board with Matt Toppin, there's a battle up here. Eric Mack, return of the Mack, coming through, trying to make a battle up for the top 5. Antonio Costa up ahead, as Antonio Costa's teammate Cody Peridotto is up in P number 2. Meanwhile, Eric Mack, return of the Mack, currently trying to find good old P5.
Yeah, I mean, Eric Mack had a fantastic season last time. You might even say it's magnificent. Sorry, I know we are such a punny duo in the commentary booth, but Eric Mack did have a really strong season last season, looking to build up the momentum like we talked about earlier. But if there's a championship for the best looking LMP2 car, I think Eric Mack wins that hands down.
Listen, if I can get Corey Silva to jump in the booth with me here sometime, if you're familiar with PTR TV and you've watched Area, you've seen what Corey Silva does in the booth, and it makes this look like rookie work. Not his commentary skills, his pun abilities. I credit him for all of the puns that I do and do not know. So, yeah, Corey, if you're listening to this, because I know you love to jump in and watch these usually on a Thursday morning, jump at the booth sometime. Let's have some fun. We'll get him in probably for a race here on a coming Wednesday and just see if we can't get him in and just make the Oval guy enjoy some road stuff, because he absolutely should. Aiden Garcia currently going around one of the GT3 AM Lamborghinis as he goes down through. And while we were talking and, making the puns for fun, our race leader jumped into the pits, came out. Jamil Gummer is now out, coming through in that number 36. And Cody Peridotto about 8 seconds behind here. Not nearly close enough to gain, but is certainly going to give it the old college try.
I mean, hey, that's the best thing he can do at this moment. And hey, who knows? If Cody Peridotto just keeps the pace and just keeps up doing what he's doing, Jamil might make a mistake at some point, and he'll be in a pretty good spot to kind of capitalize on it. So, I mean, hey, as they say, anything can happen in racing. As we check in with the number 551 Chevrolet Corvette of Jacob Wilson, who's currently P10 in the GT3 Pro category, running that very pretty black and red Corvette. Very, very beautiful car, very beautiful livery on a very beautiful track, and some beautiful racing here as always. Cody, I believe that's one of the LMP2 cars is right behind. That is not quite Cody Peridotto. That is, and I apologize if I mispronounce this, but Kjell Haugen goes ahead and starts getting past some of this GT3 traffic with the one other LMP car directly behind. But, I mean, Haugen has had a pretty good race in what I believe is his debut here at Elbows Out.
Back behind there, you see drivers going wide, trying to avoid different problems here. And yes, this is Kjell Haugen's initial race here with Elbows Out. There's a lot of drivers that it's their first race with Elbows Out. One that it is their first race and one that it isn't. Eric Wineland, a name you should be very familiar with, and Randy Kinney here, who this is his debut with Elbows Out Racing, coming through with a great run. And I do want to give a shout out to everyone who's currently watching the broadcast here. 15 minutes left to go, and we just recently passed 1,700 subscribers here on the channel, and we're on our way to 1,800 with a grand goal to get to 2,000 by the end of the year. So if you haven't liked and subscribed, be sure to do so, because we just need a little bit of help to hit that big magical goal of mine of 2,000 by the end of the year. I set off in the start of 2025 saying that's what I wanted to do, and well, by golly, I think we're going to get there at this rate. Just need a little bit of help. Tyler C., do you see what I see? I see Tyler C. in P3 trying to take on Matt Toppin, and yeah, I'll see myself out on that one.
Oh, the ultra combo there. Hate to be the combo breaker on that one, but yeah, I mean, I can definitely see Tyler right up the gearbox of Matt Toppin there. I spy with my little eye a number 81 GT3 and Porsche just right up the back of the very pretty sounding Lamborghini up ahead. Tyler C is going to try to put himself in a good position. He doesn't see an opportunity yet to make an overtake. That's what this beautiful banking on the exit of turn 6 going into turns number 7 and 8 before we hit the backstretch that is right about 0.36 miles or 575 meters just before the Le Mans chicane.
And as they come down here, gap maintaining about half a second between Matt Toppin and Tyler C up through the bus stop or the Le Mans chicane, depending on how you know it. Controversial Daytona conversation there. What do you call which corners? Because they've tried to rename them, and well, you know, they have sometimes, they haven't other times, but nevertheless, here we are. Paul Nye, the donut guy, I believe has had a moment here as I see Paul Nye no longer in the session, but I can't tell what possibly could have happened to Paul here as we look and see. And no, Paul Nye is into the pits here and is going. Let's see what may have happened to Paul. It looks like serving a drive-through potentially, as that's a very short pit stop there, in and out.
Yeah, drive-through is just not something you want to have, and it really kind of just puts a damper onto your early season aspirations here. I know we talked about getting the season started on the right foot, but it hasn't seemed to be the case here for Paul Nye Sr., unfortunately. The number 30 Mercedes having a bit of trouble, but a driver who isn't having as much trouble is this man right here at the number 523 golden Lamborghini of Maxwell Woodmansey. A very fun name for a very fun car.
Yeah, and as we see Maxwell here in this 523 going through, currently trying to battle it out with Joshua Bibb, who is in the Porsche ahead, trying to hold on here, and Maxwell just trying to find a bit of time there in his golden Midas. That's such a, you know what? Kudos to you, Maxwell Woodmansey. That is a great run there. To have the Midas sponsor on the gold Lamborghini. You know what? Kudos given where kudos is deserved, because that's a great run there. As we're down to 11 minutes to go at the moment, checking in with our GT3 AM class here, and let's take a look at this big old field as it stands. Rich Calais as Maxwell Woodmansey with the Midas touch spins it around there, and we'll see if he can get going back for the 40 Thieves Racing team, and we'll have to wait on a clear piece of track. Is going to take a minute there, but checking in with our GT3 AM leader as he goes by and laps Woodmansey. It is Rich Calais who is currently in the lead by 23 seconds over this Lamborghini Matt Toppin. Tyler C., I see him in P3 trying to run for P2, and then Seth Vosselman down in 4th. Daniel Pinero, Dwight Hibbs in 6th, Ethan Murphy here in 7th, 8th place. Jacob Wilson not too far off, currently battling it out with Ryan Bailey in 9th place as they come through the tri-oval down into turn 1. Hard on the brakes they go. Wide goes Ryan Bailey. Defensive goes Jacob Wilson. Great run there from them. They'll switch it back a little bit, but it is the defense there. Let's see. Does Ryan Bailey have anything to give, though? Down into the International Horseshoe. Hard on the brakes to the inside. Stays Jacob Wilson. Great defense there. Just frustrating there as he tries to prevent the pass. And just behind them, it's Jordan Scarrett in P10 and GT3M. Look at this side-by-side. Through the kink they go. Man, that is such a dangerous position to put yourself in. But great moves there from them, Patrick, as they decide to sort that one out.
Yeah, Jacob Wilson and Ryan Bailey have had a fantastic battle. And I love seeing cars battle through the horseshoe sections of the track, because that is probably the part of the track where you're least likely to get a pass on to your opponent. And these two drivers have kept it clean. They got their elbows out, definitely, but they kept it clean. And, I mean, making the Stewards' Day a lot easier to keep track of any incident reports that may happen. I mean, Ryan Bailey has had a very good run in that number 077 Porsche, trying to chase down the number 55-7 Corvette of Jacob Wilson there. Those two cars are very close, but they have an LMP car to kind of deal with. The LMP car should try to get past on this backstretch of the oval, turns 11 and 12. And it gets past one. Can it get past the other? I'm pretty sure that's going to go with no contest. But once again, we're going to see Jacob Wilson and Ryan Bailey side by side as they start the next lap. Once again, Jacob Wilson in the lead position there, as we see a few of the LMP cars going a bit wide there. And I got to hand it to Jacob Wilson. He's having a fantastic race and some very beautiful and clean defense on his part.
Yeah, it's amazing to watch them run through as they go, and we watch this battle continue along here as they go. And now you see the LMP2 cars just continuing to work their way through. We go through the kink here and now towards the West Horseshoe, and LMP2's the Le Mans Prototype 2 class here. Always going to be lighter on the brakes, going to be able to brake quite a bit later than a GT3 car, and always going to be in a good position to really keep that going through. This battle right here continuing to heat up as they've lost touch with Jacob Wilson, I'd argue, but Jordan Scarrett has decided to now make an appearance as well and just sort of, feel things out and say, hey, can I get involved in this battle while I can, where I can? And doing a great job there of that. But that is where your GT3AM class currently sits. Let's check in with GT3 Pros as these three sort themselves out here for just a minute. And GT3 Pros, as they stand, well, for the 9 cars that are there, it's Tyler Stenick, who is currently running in first, that has the 18th place overall car of Matt Toppin. Actually, no, that is not Matt Toppin. That is the 18th place in class car of... Well, no, I don't know who that is that he's currently drafting with, but Tyler Stanek, it's currently running through, and Brian Metterly, his teammate, running in second place. So it's a 1-2 right now for the BMW teammates, and I don't know what more you could really ask for when it's all said and done.
Oh, yeah. I mean, getting the win is very good for a team morale because, as we discussed earlier with Christopher Ondera, that there are no teams here at Elbows Out Racing, but getting a 1-2 in the season opener is such a morale booster for that team. Now, granted, we know that the teams are mostly around for fun. This it's not like there's, at least to my knowledge, there isn't several $100 million you for teams like there is in some other sports, but still, I mean, when your team is working in perfect unison and you have 2 fired up drivers that are really rapid, then your chances of winning that team's championship goes up exponentially. And I think we're definitely seeing that here with this BMW squadron of Brian Medley and Tyler Stenick.
Oh, listen, I know that there's no $1 million contracts, but there's bragging rights, and I don't know if you know this about sim racers, but bragging rights are all they really want and all they need. Just like I feel like Jamil Gummer is going to be feeling really good here with the bragging rights here in LMP2 category racing, currently up 7.8 seconds over Cody Perodato. Great battle for 4th place going on here to highlight as they battle it through and keep this going. KH Donahue and Antonio Costa battling it out, 0.8 of a second separating them as they follow each other along here. The number 900 trying to defend from the number 13, but trying to chase that number 49 just ahead. So that is a battle to really keep your eyes on as they go.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, I got to give a lot of credit to Donahue and Howden because these are two rookies here at Elbows Out Racing, and one of them is in the podium, and the other one is within touching distance of that podium. So, I mean, that's going to be another massive morale booster. Sometimes you may feel apprehensive about joining a league, especially when it's competitive as Elbows Out. You're like, the imposter syndrome kicks in, But getting a podium on debut is certainly going to take that imposter syndrome, follow it up, and just launch it into orbit. And, I mean, I think the morale booster is really going to help for these drivers. I mean, even if Donahue can't get past and he's still in fourth overall on debut is nothing to really complain about. I mean, it's still a very good position and a very fine result on debut as the two rookie drivers go head-to-head, battling it out into the International Horseshoe. The two cars keeping it close, but keeping it very clean as we go into the next part just right after pit exit. These two cars are fighting tooth and nail. They only got about maybe 2-ish laps left as we're down to the last 3.5 minutes of this race.
Yeah, as they come through this... As
a driver in this league, I promise you, finishing on the podium versus fourth, it makes all the difference in the world. It makes your night or ruins your night.
It's all about the bragging rights at the end of the day, I feel like, for some people. They really they want to be able to say, hey, I finished ahead of you. And sometimes it's just a case of, feeling good and saying, you know what, I finished ahead. And that feels really, really good here as they keep it going and they keep it moving and grooving. Want to give a little bit of shout outs to the drivers who are not going to be able to finish this event here today. Colin Bourdon is out. Julius Machevsky is out. Shea Perkins is out. Graham Lewis is still showing in the sim, but is 17 laps down and has been in pit lane for 25 minutes. So I believe we can call Graham Lewis out of this race. Nathan Hemperly, Chase Wilson, Andre Wedderburn is out. I'm showing for 8 minutes and counting currently in pits. Ryan Geckler and Philip Kieser there in the AM category. So we've had 8 cars that have dropped out at the moment. So out of the 50 cars that started, we still have 40 running. So actually that's 10 cars. So yeah, math is hard at 10:02 on a Wednesday night is what I'm going to tell you as we continue to watch this battle in LMP2 categories. Continue here for P3. It's now a hard-fought 3-car battle for P3 as we go down to what I am showing is 2 laps to go with under 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a close battle here. And I mean, the fact that we even still have 40 cars running is a fantastic testament to how much this league has grown during the 2 weeks we've had off. So, I mean, yeah, it's a lot of fun. And this battle right here is a lot of fun as well. We have 3 very talented drivers here. We have Haugen, we have Donahue, we have Costa, all battling it out for the final step on the podium. And well, I'm sure these drivers won't complain too much, but like Christopher Ondera said, it can make or break your night to get to the podium here, especially if you're one of the rookie drivers making their debut here at Elbows Out Racing. And I mean, time flies when you're having fun, whether it's on track or here in the booth. This race has been fantastic.
It absolutely has. And one thing I will also point out is some behind the scenes things that changed. Drew, one of the owners of this league, actually having to step away for some real life things, handing over ownership of the server to Paul Nye Sr., white flag out this time by. And you can tell the dedication, the love that Paul has for this server. It's already showing 50 cars in week 1. I mean, that shows very significantly just the dedication that Paul has. He's put in a lot of work during those last 2 weeks to make a lot of different things in the server. Not saying anything was wrong before, but just saying that, that new leadership step in, and it can either go right or it can go wrong. And I would argue that it has went very right here. There's half a lap left to go here. Jamil Gummer steps out of the inside, white flag out, final lap underway. And for Jamil Gummer, it is going to be a very, very well-earned win.
Yeah, I mean, he just kept his nose clean and just stayed out of trouble, and look where it got him, to the top step of the podium. It's been a fantastic race here from the number 36 LMP2 car, as he is making his way around the backstretch for the final time, and I'm sure he is going to be very, very excited. I believe it's also his first season here at Elbows Out to... I know we're talking about getting a podium on debut, but getting a race win on debut is definitely a massive morale booster. As Jamil Gummer is going to come across the line, he takes the checker flag first. Jamil Gummer is a race winner here at Elbows Out, and a mighty fine drive that was.
Absolutely is coming to the line here. Battle for P3. Kel Hagen, they are going around Martin Merkfa there. Martin Merkfa backing out of it. And there we go. The 3-car battle for third. It ends up being Kel Hagen who finds that one up in the GT3 Pro category. We currently have Tyler Stinnett going through. And in GT3 AM, it's Rich Calais who brought it across the line there and wins in GT3 AM and GT3 Pro. Tyler Stinnett still has about half a lap to go here, but plenty of time to be found as we jump down to our flag stand and watch all of our cars cross the line here. We'll wait here for a moment for Tyler Stinnett to come through. And some other big names to mention: Matt Toppin, second place there in GT3 AM. Zachary Nerney in fourth place in GT3 Pro. So many, many names in great position. Seth Bosselman, third place in GT3M. What a great run from Seth Bosselman to end up third there going through. So as drivers continue to cross the line here, Tyler Stinnett coming through Speedway 3 and 4 here, and we'll be bringing it across the line to win in the Elbows Out multi-class 60 here, round number 1. Great win there.
100% agreed, but here's the thing. Can he keep it up over the duration of the season, though? Because, I mean, like you said earlier, we have 12 rounds of this fantastic championship. So, I mean, if Stinnett wants to make it back-to-back championships, he's really going to put pedal to the metal and stay consistent through the rest of the season. And we have some mighty fine tracks coming up.
That we do. I don't even think we really talked about what was coming up in the season here, as Tyler Stinnett and Brian Metterly are going to line it up here. They're going to get a good photo together. And gentlemen, when you watch this later, just know that I expect this photo because I will need a thumbnail here later in the season. So I expect that screenshot to come to me. Don't make me come searching for it here. Martin Merkfa, third in GT3 Pro battles. Cody Perodato was second in LMP2, and Kel Hagen there, again, found third as it goes. We'll go through the full list of results in a second. Tyler Stinnett burning it down here at Daytona in the BMW. And to tell you what, let's go ahead and get this post-race show underway. Let's get the full race results pulled up here on screen and go through them class by class. Let's start out with the LMP2 category here on the night. Again, everything brought to you by International Decorators Inc. A big shout out to them for the quality, safety, and production 60 that they put on here today. After 36 laps, it was Jamil Gummer who wins out here in the LMP2 category in Poland, which means it's about 3 a.m. there for Jamil Gummer. So that's an impressive good morning win there. Cody Perodato in second place. Kel Hagen in third. KH Donahue, not who, Hugh in P number 4. Antonio Costa, P5. Eric Mack, return of the Mack. Well, it was a return to sixth place. Aiden Garcia, P7. Malik Bass in P number 8. Kylan Bruce in ninth place. Eric Wineland in P10. P11 was Randy Kinney. Liam Branco down 1 lap in P12. And Bob Carey down 3 laps in P number 13. In GT3 Pro competition here, Tyler Stanek wins out by 7.2 seconds over his teammate Brian Medderly in second. Martin Merkfa in the Red Bull paint scheme in P3. Zachary Nerney in fourth place. Mike Sermon, P5. Peter Nodwell in P6. Emily Milkey, P7. Paul Nye Sr., the boss man, in P number 8. And Chase Wilson in P number 9. In GT3M, our biggest class of the day, the biggest GT3 class we've ever had, the biggest class we've had, bigger than some of the field that we've had, potentially. Rich Calais wins overall on debut in GT3M. Matt Topp in second place. Seth Vosselman with a beautiful third place. Daniel Pinero in fourth in the number 48. Tyler C., I see Tyler in P5 there in the 081. Dwight Hibbs in sixth. Ethan Murphy in seventh. Jordan Scarrett, P8. Jacob Wilson, ninth. Ryan Bailey in 10th. From there, it was Santa Sierra, Joshua Bibb, Benjamin Bechtel, Kyle O'Grady, David Moore, Maxwell Woodman C., Aiden Toohey, Dayton McGuire, Parker Chiapuzzo, Ryan Geckler, rounding out top 20. And for your final 8 cars, some of these were out of the race due to damage, due to incidents. Philip Keyser, Colin Bourdon, Julius Machewski, Graham Lewis, Shea Perkins, Nathan Hemperly, Andre Wedderburn, and Powell Widajewski in the final position in GT3AM. Guys, what do you say we go and let's interview some of our winners here? Let's see who we've got available. I see Tyler Stanek here sitting around, the GT3 Pro winner. Tyler's used to being in the booth. Let's bring Tyler up here. And Tyler, good evening. How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
I'm doing pretty well. I gotta say, you're probably absolutely stoked to have a win here.
Yeah, no, we were I was really happy with the result. Me and Brian decided to do the BMW. We just wasn't able to bring out the Mustang this season, but new tire model was a little scary. But it was great. I didn't mess up. So I was worried about killing myself more than anything. So I'm really happy with the result and start off the season strong.
Now, you ran the Mustang last season and you switched over to the BMW here. Kind of tell me what the thought process was for going from one car to the other.
Well, me, Paul, Zach, and Brian ran the BMW for the Nordschleifer 24, and we really enjoyed it. And then now with the new tire model, it seemed like a very safe car to hop in on cold tires. It's manageable and it has a good balance of being quick everywhere where it needs to be, and it's relatively easy to drive. The Mustang was great. Did a lot of testing with it. It wanted to kill me very often, and I just felt like that wasn't the best move. So aiming for more consistency versus straight up pace, especially this track, the Mustang was overall top speed. A couple guys I was with, they were just pulling away with the Mustang. I just was able to stay in the infield and just stay on the track pretty much.
Awesome. And Tyler, looking through the season as a whole, I mean, you're kicking it off already on a win, but looking at the season schedule here coming through, it's Watkins Glen next week. How do you feel about Watkins Glen, and where will we see you next week?
Watkins Glen is I'm super excited. Now there's no grid penalties for podium, so it should be interesting. And Watkins Glen, especially for Brian and I, for our team, it's a very strong track for us. We're going to do the 6 hour, so BMW seems like it's a good fit on the track too. So I'm hoping I'm talking to you in the same spot.
Awesome, man. And before we let you go, anyone you want to thank, anyone you want to shout out, the floor is yours.
Shout out to you guys doing the broadcast. Always fantastic. Always look forward to it. Paul took on a lot of responsibility with the whole entire league, getting people in, recruiting, Zach, everyone behind the scenes. It's been fun, and I'm excited for another season. Brian made a great livery. Excited to have him as a teammate, good friend of mine, and it should be an awesome dynamic this season. We're looking forward to it, so just keep trucking along.
Awesome, Tyler. Always good to talk to you, man. Congratulations, and hope you enjoy watching the broadcast back, and we'll see you next week.
Will do. Thank you.
All right, and let's talk to our GT3AM winner next. We'll save the overall winner for last here. Rich Calais. First thing we're going to learn is, am I pronouncing Rich's last name right? Rich, hello, welcome in. How are you?
Oh, doing great. How about yourself?
Doing pretty well. Now, first thing we're going to sort out, how do you pronounce your last name?
Calais, Calais, it's all the same.
Okay. We were saying Calais up here in the booth, so I wanted to make sure, or at least I was. I don't know. Patrick, how did you say the last name?
I said a Calais.
Okay. We said it like that, so hopefully when you watch it back, you don't get mad at us and come after us later. So, Rich, welcome to Elbows Out Racing, and welcome in with a win. I mean, you show up and you show off. How's it feel?
Oh man, feels great. To be honest with you, I had no idea what class I was in, which is probably reflective of me not doing a lot of research. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Love Daytona, love the Ford. So really can't complain. What a welcome.
Awesome. And Rich, I'm going to ask you as a GT3 here, how's it feel to have LMP2s on track trying to get around you and trying to go through? How did you deal with lap traffic in the seat you were in?
Oh man, just tried to stay out of the way, to be honest. There was a couple hairy situations, especially with cold tires, where I don't quite have the grip that I normally do, and I'm sure they want me to get out of their way as much as or as fast as possible, and I want to get out of their way, so I just try to stay out the way.
Don't blame you a bit there. And Rich, I got to ask, we've seen a lot of drivers in a lot of different GT3s. Why do you drive the Mustang?
Oh man, I'm a Ford guy, whether that's for good or bad. I've always driven Fords. Currently drive a Ford, so I just repping the brand.
Awesome. That is good to know. I'll DM you something here a little bit later of mine, so I think you'll appreciate
Oh
it.
yeah, awesome.
Awesome, man. Rich, before we let you go, anyone you want to thank, anyone you want to shout out, the floor is yours.
Oh man, shout out to my boy Chase. He had a little spin earlier in the race, but definitely a lot of fun kind of getting the setup right and the strategy with the 4 tires. So it was really fun working with him. Shout out to Dad. Father's Day was this weekend. Got to spend some time with him watching the 24. So shout out to my dad too.
Awesome, man. And shout out to you. Congratulations on the win, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
And last but not least, let's pull in our LMP2 overall winner here, Jamil Gummer. And we're also, again, first thing we're going to address here is Jamil. Are we saying your name correct? Let's start there.
Extremely close. I'll give you credit for being so close on the first time. It's Jamel.
Jamel. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take it for absolutely no idea before. Close enough, so we'll take it. Jamel, welcome to Elbows Out, and welcome to a
Thanks.
win. You are the second new driver here to have a win in class today. How's it feel?
Feels great. I thought I almost threw it away there for a minute.
Oh, what happened? Because we missed
Well,
it on broadcast.
Yeah, I had a lockup going into the first horseshoe, and Cody got out there a good bit, but I'm just glad that the fuel strategy that I was planning on played out. So
Awesome, man. I gotta ask, looking through here, I mean, it's stiff competition in Elbows Out. I gotta ask you, was there ever a point where you were running and you were like, man, this is hard?
yeah, definitely. Once I got back into second, I wasn't, and he got a pretty good gap built up. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to catch him. Cody was out there running great pace. Luckily, he pitted. His fuel wasn't right, so he had to pit much earlier than anticipated. So it ended up working out in the end. But it's definitely going to be a good fight for the rest of the season for sure.
Awesome, man. And I gotta ask the $1 million question to you. Are we going back-to-back wins here? Watkins Glen next week.
I hope so. I love Watkins Glen. I'll be doing the 6 hours with some of my other teammates. It'll be interesting with traffic, though. Now with the LMP2 being slower than it used to be, it always gets a little bit hairy there, but it should be a fun time.
Absolutely. And anyone you want to thank or shout out before we let you go, the floor is yours.
Yeah, just shout out to the broadcast. You all are doing a great job. Shout out to Paul for putting this on. And then I just want to shout out my guys over at Friend Motorsport and Dash Sim Sports. But other than that, I enjoy being here. Looking forward to the season.
Awesome. We're looking forward to seeing you run this season. Congratulations on the win, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Sounds good.
Well, Patrick, Christopher, that was one heck of a round one, I must say.
Yeah, it certainly was. I need to say that on behalf of everyone at Elbows Out, an extra special thank you to Drew Zario for starting the league, setting a foundation for a great community. I know for a fact everybody that has been around Drew loves the guy. Really, really appreciate your dedication. And you need to step away. Do what you got to do, brother.
1,000,000% on that one. Drew, you're going to be back, I'm sure, at some point. You know, life comes, life goes, things ebb, things flow. But Drew Zario, again, league wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. So if you're watching this, you might be, you might not be. Who knows? But if you do, a big thank you.
Yeah, I want to echo that sentiment too. I mean, I know I haven't been around Elbows Out a whole lot. I did a few races here and there, and I'm here for this season. But every single time I have been here, the racers, the races themselves, the action has always been top notch. And obviously, the league wouldn't be here without you. So thank you on behalf of the drivers and us here at the commentary booth, and also I'm sure on the behalf of all the spectators watching the stream here today.
Absolutely that. Guys, it was such a good run of racing here. Just going through the final results yet again overall. I mean, 49 cars going through, 50 cars actually. Let me make sure I say my numbers right, but 50 cars taking place in this event today. And I tell you what, if it's this packed next week at Watkins Glen, I might be making a trip to my local micro center between this week and next. But that's where we're going to round off this run here of the Multi-Class 60 here. Again, brought to you by IDI. A big shout out to them as well. Founded in 1952, premier contracting service company specializing in acoustical ceiling, drywall, carpentry, paint, wall coverings, and window treatments for construction projects. Be sure to check out their website, www.4idi.com. Build something worth owning, bringing you this Multi-Class 60 Championship Series. And of course, on behalf of everyone here at PTR TV, a big thank you for watching along today. On behalf of Patrick, on behalf of Christopher, my name is Brad. We've taken you start to finish. Be sure to join us here on PTR TV tomorrow night for Area, or you can join us again Sunday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, or Thursdays, where we'll have more racing action for you. Good night.